Title: The Legend of the Lupus Warriors. Episode 2. When the earth sang back, before they could heal the land, they had to remember who they were. The convergence had passed, but its resonance still hummed in the bones of the valley. It was not a song heard with ears. It was felt in the breath, in the pulse, in the aching spaces between each heartbeat. Beneath their feet, the land stirred. It was waking up, and so were they. The Lupus warriors camped beneath the crescent moon, surrounded by sacred flame and shadow, letting the elements speak again. Fire flickered in the eyes of Eurija, the Flameborn, as he meditated before a carved obsidian bowl, etched with glyphs only the stars remembered. Pia sat close, draped in a cloak of deep indigo and gold thread, her fingers curled around a clear quartz crystal humming like a heartbeat. Crystals of all kinds adorned them, carnelian at their throats for courage, black tourmaline at their waists for protection, amethyst resting on third eyes to awaken vision. They weren't just decorations, they were frequencies, keys to ancestral codes. The tribe was awakening. Urban, still tangled in the concrete memories of forgotten cities, sat alone by a stream that once belonged to the ancient waters of the true Nile. Not the Nile they teach in falsified books, but the first river, the lifeblood that flowed through Turtle Island when the land was one. He dipped his hands in the water, and as ripples danced, he saw visions, not of the future, but of what had been stolen. The truth hurt. This land, this so-called New World, was the oldest of them all. The bones beneath it whispered in mound and mountain, in canyon and cave. Invaders, cloaked in magic and deceit, rewrote time, lied through blood and fire, and told the tribes they were separate when they were always one. They shipped false gods in wooden coffins and silenced the drums that once summoned lightning. But the earth remembered, and now so did the warriors. Lakota began to drum again. Her fingers, wrapped in copper coils and blue kyanite stones, beat slow and low at first. Boom, boom, like heartbeats waking from sleep. The others gathered. Sage hummed beneath his breath, and strange symbols formed in the air, glyphs that pulsed with numerology, maps made of sacred equations. 888, 444, 222. They weren't just numbers, they were vibrations, doorways encoded in divine pattern. "Do you feel it?" Sage asked, not opening his eyes. "The land is singing back." Legend sat at the center, surrounded by old scrolls written in tongue that hadn't been spoken in thousands of cycles. His dreadlocks wrapped in golden thread, his aura a soft green, emerald like Mahat's eye. He read the scrolls aloud, the language more vibration than word. A chorus of ancestors answered back in wind and whisper. "This land was once aligned with the sky," Legend said. "Every tree was a tuning fork, every hill a sacred bell. They broke the harmony, but we will restore it." Lake stirred beside him, her voice smooth like still water. "But to do that, we must first pass through the Gate of Memory." The Gate of Memory was not a place, it was a reckoning. The Lupus spirit returned that night, not as a monster, but as mirror. It took the form of their pain. It whispered all the names they had buried, all the shame they carried from lifetimes twisted by manipulation and theft. It forced them to remember the wounds. Eudora fell first. Her memories of care and sacrifice flooded her until she collapsed, crying not from weakness, but from truth finally released. Percy roared next, the ground shaking as his grief cracked the earth. He had once buried a village with his fists, confused by power and rage. The Lupus showed him and forced him to forgive himself. One by one, they faced the shadow. But with every shadow came light. For each wound remembered, a new gift awakened. Pia's meditation ignited waves of golden light that poured from her palms. Lake bent the river around her body like silk. Urban summoned vibrations through old vinyl records buried beneath the soil. Music, it turned out, was a weapon and a spell. They remembered who they were, but this power came with responsibility. They weren't just warriors, they were stewards. And the earth had one more truth to show them. That night, the stars aligned overhead. Taurus rising in the east, Orion bowing in the west. A portal opened between the baobabs, glowing like the iris of the all-seeing eye. One by one they stepped through, and what they saw broke them. Towers of white stone on lands that were once forests. Children in cages, ancestors screaming from the soil. Sacred mounds dynamited and buried under highways. Rituals mocked, tribes renamed. Names erased, false flags raised over sacred grounds. They weren't just fighting for survival. They were fighting for memory, for restoration. But before they could save this sacred earth, they had to save themselves fully. Not from monsters, but from forgetting.